Hey everybody, Pat Rigsby here with another episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners Podcast. And I've got my friend and extraordinary business owner, Levi Memmer, here as a guest. Levi works with Doug and I in the boardroom group and has built just an amazing business in Texas. And we're going to kind of just unpack it all, how he got to where he is, what the business looks like now, and hopefully some takeaways you guys can use in your own business. So welcome, Levi.
Thanks, sir. Extraordinary is a pretty strong word.
Look, man, I mean, if the shoe fits, right?
I'll
So,
take it.
so, well, I guess kind of just to give people some context about what your business looks like today, um, you can do kind of a quick overview of that. That'd be awesome.
Sure. So we do large group training and small group training, adults only. We got out athletes quite a while back, and we have about almost 400 clients. Um, our large group is kind of fallen out of style in the past few years, but we've had a ton of success with it. And I even talked to Doug at one point about possibly leaning more towards small group, and he's like, "Hey, man, if you're killing it with large group, don't broke what isn't, or don't fix what isn't broke." So we do really well with a large group. That's probably where about 85% of our revenue comes from. And then we do a little bit of small group. Our small group is different than the typical small group. It's 12 people, up to 12 people in a group. Um, so yeah.
So 400-ish clients in what kind of space, what kind of staff? Talk about that for a minute.
So we have about a 6,000 square foot warehouse style facility. Um, we have three full time coaches and myself. I just stepped out of coaching. So we just brought on our third full timer in October, I believe. And so we transitioned him into all of my sessions. And so I'm not coaching anymore. Um, yeah, three full timers and myself. We don't have an admin. We kind of all share admin duties as needed.
So like one coach to 130-ish person
Yeah.
coach to client ratio. I would say there's some margins to be had there. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we coach a lot. We work a lot. But with added coach, schedule's got a lot better for all of us. So certainly help.
Good. Um, so I mean, you've been running a pretty big, like 300 person business for a while now, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've been revenues gradually come up, but we kind of hockey sticked in 15, 16, 17, part of 18. And then we've been, as far as number of clients go, obviously with the exception of COVID, we've been pretty steady as far as clients go. So we've had, 370 plus, with the exception of COVID, for shoot, I guess it'd be 6 years now. Revenue, because we found ways to increase revenue, is steadily, very gradually gone up since then. But yeah, we've had a pretty big gym for a while.
So we talk about a lot of this inside the boardroom group because I think everybody's pretty transparent. Everybody shares what's working and what people's business looks like. I mean, a couple of things that you have kind of been known as a kind of top the pyramid in are I mean, just you run with extraordinary margins. I mean, you're really profitable. And B, for large group training, I mean, your retention is just out of sight. So, um, can we talk about those two things a little bit? How you've been able to run such a profitable business first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the retention side too.
Sure. The profitability thing mostly is the large group training does help, right? Because we can have quite a few members per coach. So that helps. But mostly is I'm just pretty shrewd as a owner operator, right? Like, we don't spend money on stuff we don't need. And there's some stuff in there that really is not within our control. Like, we have 6,000 square feet. We pay $3,000 a month, right? Like there's some things in there that we don't really control, but mostly just, we're just very shrewd. Um, Marketing dollars, we don't spend near as much in marketing as most people. Um, if we need something, we buy it, but we don't spend money on dumb stuff. The stuff that's not going to move the needle. Um, and then in terms of retention, um, retention is an interesting one. Doug and I talked about this, and I talked with our staff after our last Zoom because Doug and I were talking about retention, and I don't know that we do anything that's extraordinary or out of the ordinary in terms of retention, but I think the foundation of it for us is relationships with our clients. And like for instance, we had a coach who had a blowout on the way to an early morning session a couple months ago, and we had two groups going, and only one coach showed up, and nobody else. I was at the beach actually, and so nobody could come and cover those two early morning sessions. So we had one coach covering both sessions, doing her best. We have protocols in place as far as how to do that if something happens. And like our clients were like, the only thing we heard from our clients that were in those sessions and Facebook and whatever else was how amazing that coach was that covered both sessions. And that's just kind of a microcosm of the relationship that we have. They know we have the best interest at heart and that we're genuinely good people. We genuinely care about them. So that's the foundation. I think client recognition is a big one. People want to be recognized, especially publicly. So, we have our t-shirt system in place, and, we have, some people call it the frequent sweaters, the 8+ workouts a month recognition. And we're always trying to recognize even small stuff, like every Friday, we'll have people post their wins in a Facebook group. I'll make a post in there. Hey, share your wins this week. Personal, gym, doesn't matter. So people like to, even though that's kind of recognizing themselves, people want to be recognized publicly. So I think that's a big one as well. Those are the two main ones. There's obviously a lot of other little stuff, but those two are the big two.
Well, you touched on the t-shirt system for a moment. I mean, can you give a quick rundown of how your t-shirt system works? Because it certainly is different than what most people do, and I know has uh, probably impacted a lot of the higher end businesses that we work with. People learning from you, borrowing and adapting for their own business.
Yeah, we have basically, once you sign up here, you get a t-shirt for your first year. You get a different color t-shirt every 3 months. So 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and then every 6 months after that. And it's kind of like the belt system in martial arts, where you achieve a certain level of mastery in martial arts, whatever. For us, it's length of time, but um, it's a different color each time. So our clients, especially ones that have been around, they know that, if you have a black shirt with gold ITS logo on it, you've been here 5 years. And it says stronger is kind of our catchphrase, whatever. So it says 5 years stronger on the back. And so in terms of public recognition, it's been a really big one. We present those shirts at the end of a workout. So if Susie is in our workout in January is her 5-year anniversary with us, at the end of the workout, we say, hey, we have a couple anniversary shirts. Susie's been here for 5 years this month, and we throw her the shirt and everybody claps, and it's really cool. And then we didn't really plan it this way, but we have a person who's pretty high up in marketing in one of the major hospital chains in this area. And she came to us one day and she's like, that's a genius brand. And I was like, all right. I mean, we didn't do it for that reason, but we got to counting up. This was a couple of years ago. We have thousands of shirts in circulation in this area. And at least once a week, I'll go somewhere and I'll have the ITS hat or shirt or jacket or whatever. And somebody say, what is that? I see those everywhere. So it's a really good public recognition thing, but kind of inadvertently, it's ended up being a really good marketing thing as well. And it's something, we spend $800 to $1,000 a month on shirts, but the return has been huge. We post them online. We post them on Instagram. We post them in some of them in Google. Our business profile on Google. So it's been a really good program all the way around.
Nice. So, yeah, I mean, you mentioned kind of that hockey stick trajectory that happened in the late teens. So let's trace it back. I mean, when did you start ITS, and what's it look like? What's that journey look like along the way?
We started in 2012. I started part time January 2012. Did it part time. I'm still a strength coach at a high school. I was still under contract there through June. So did it part time, just in the evenings, couple evenings a week. And then in June of 2012, I went full time, and that's about when I hired you. And I didn't know what I was doing. I knew how to train people. I had no idea what I was doing. So I knew I needed help on the business side. That's when we hired you. Um, we trained athletes and adults at that time. At some point, probably 15-ish, we got too busy with adults to continue to train athletes. And to be honest, even though I was in college and high school strength coach, I like training adults better anyway. We can have a bigger impact. And a lot of the grassroots marketing, back then Facebook ads really weren't a thing. So a lot of just the grassroots marketing and word of mouth. And there was not really a good training gym in this area until 2019, other than us. Um, and so again, between the relationships and delivering a good service and so on, that 15, 16, 17, 18, we kind of hockey stick.
400 clients, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and I mean, I think that when people, hear me, I know, talk about this whole concept of ideal business. I mean, you're coaching basketball, you guys have paid off a house, you take vacations. I mean, talk about what the kind of building wealth, the business kind of being a vehicle to you, like for you to live the life you want, it has kind of looked like.
Yeah. And for, for probably 2012 to 2021, somewhere in there, I did not have my ideal business. In the beginning, I don't think you can really, you know what I mean? Like you got to grind it out. You got to put in hours before you can hire more people and so on. But around the time that you started your own business and started kind of talking about the ideal business is when I really started thinking about it. And um, part of that was I I just like the revenue. I like the free. I grew up poor, and so having higher revenue and not hiring people felt better to me
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally. And so as we went on and you started talking more and more about ideal business, I started leaning more and more that way. And now, especially now that I don't have to coach it all if I don't want to, I definitely have an ideal business. And um, my kids are 14, 11, and 5 or 6, excuse me, 14, 11, and 6. And so it's really important for me. I'm coaching my 11-year-old and my 6-year-old's basketball team right now. I haven't missed a game for my 11-year-old or my 14-year-old. He's eighth grade basketball. I don't miss anything with them, any event, any practice, anything. Um, so the years and the hours that we put in early when I didn't have my ideal business have made it partially possible now that I can have my ideal business, and financially and from a time standpoint, we can do pretty much what we want.
Yeah, I think that that's a pretty critical distinction. The way that I know I talk about it is you can't have your ideal business while you're building it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think with anything, you got to pay your dues. And even now, I mean, it doesn't mean that you or I don't work. I mean, I think I I would probably be a little bit lost without work, right? But you definitely can be a little more strategic about the role you play to or the hours that you need to maybe take off to do the things you want to do.
Right.
So
Yep.
And you contrast that with being a strength coach at a college or a high school where your schedule kind of owns you a little bit. Um, yeah, that's a pretty different lifestyle.
100%. Yeah, I loved it being a strength coach, but you're never fully in control of your own destiny. I mean, you know that being a sport coach at the college level, you're never controlling your own destiny. Um, I had an assistant coach when I was at TCU tell me, and he had made this mistake, and he goes, "Be careful getting into this business because you'll be busy raising everybody else's kids, and you'll look up and you didn't raise your own." And I was 23, 4, 5 at the time, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's not good." I hadn't had my first son yet, but that chat with him had a pretty big impact on me. And like, even though I didn't know what ideal business was at that time, like it kind of made me think twice about where I really wanted to go.
Well, so you've been able to grow. You mentioned, hey, you don't do a lot of advertising, but there's certainly a lot of brand awareness in your market. What kind of things do you do to continue to feed people in? Because I do want to talk a little bit about the mechanics and then also talk about some of the wealth building stuff as we go. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but that's all right.
All good. We do Facebook ads. We don't rely on them like a lot of people do. We have a really good Facebook ads guy now, and his strategy is really fit us um, as far as just building the community. It's almost like building your email list. It's just a different kind of venue, right? Or a different avenue, building your community through Facebook ads. And so that's helped a lot in the past. We hired him maybe 6 months ago. That's helped a lot. But most of it is uh, still, most of our marketing is still grassroots stuff, whether it's reaching out to former clients. We do that a good bit. We reach out to 3, 4, 5 former clients per day. Um, we'll do referral campaigns. We've got a referral campaign coming up in February. We'll still do the, even though transformation challenges don't have the impact they once did on a business, we'll still do those, and we still do okay with them. Um, so those are the main ones. Even like, like we do a paid in full summer membership, stuff like that. Even still, most of those people come from referrals. So, probably 75% of our leads come from referrals. In the info packet, that's another one I talked about the other day on the boardroom call. Like, it's been pleasantly surprising is how many people download our info packet on our website.
Well, so I mean, you use the info packet a lot, and then you use free trials a lot.
Yeah, our core offer is always has been a 2-week free trial. And I know, free is kind of fallen out of popularity as well. We have the capacity to do large group trainings, so that helps for sure. But we do a 2-week free trial, and we'll do even up to 4 weeks free. Our info packet people get 4 weeks free, and I get that people don't want to give away their stuff for free, especially if they don't have all the capacity in the world. Um, but it seems to me like, especially as the free trial has fallen off and fallen out of popularity, it seems to me like the people that come in on a free trial here, which is the vast majority of them, appreciate the fact that it's free and there's no catch,
No.
right? Like I tell people, we get questioned all the time, like, there's got to be a catch. What's the catch? I'm like, there's no catch. Come try it, see if you like it. We're confident enough in our coaching, in our community, and what you're going to feel like during those 2 weeks. We're pretty damn confident that you're going to sign up, barring financial limitations or whatever. Um, we're pretty damn confident in that, and it's never got to the point where we've had so many tire kickers that it wasn't worth doing, right? And to be completely honest with you, we get very few tire kickers on free trials. It's either, hey, I didn't realize it cost this much, I'm not going to be able to sign up, or hey, the schedule's not going to work. Every once in a while, we get a tire kicker, but it's very rare.
Well, I mean, you talk about the info packet and the trial. I mean, they're very much, I think, kind of meeting the prospective client where they are. The info packet, like people are curious. They may not be ready to walk through the door. They're curious. Like, I want to know more. I want to know what it costs, all that stuff. And then the trial. I mean, if you're good at what you do, it's probably no matter how good the info packet is, there's probably not a way to give somebody a true kind of understanding of what sets you apart without experiencing it.
Right, for sure. And it's an easier sell all the way around. And I tell people all the time, it's free. Come try it. Like, try it. If you don't like it, you don't have anything invested in it. We can, at the very least, we can get you off to a good start. And an experience, like I said, like you said, it's a big deal. If they come experience it, we close a relatively high percentage, so it's always been worth it to us.
And I mean, and we touched on this early on. I mean, but your retention rate as a large group training business, I mean, what's your retention rate look like at a large group training business? Because frankly, I think this is pretty staggering.
Yeah. We never, very rarely dip below 98. Every once in a while, we'll have a 96, 97 month, weird month, but very rarely is it dip below 98.
I mean, in a large group training kind of landscape, the vast majority of those folks never touch 95% retention month over month. Um, Heck, a lot of them probably are lucky to get to 90. So 98, I mean, I've always kind of felt like you had a business that had all the relationship building components of a small group training business that had like 100 clients, except somehow you've been able to scale this to 400 clients in a large group format.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that, and I think we do have that feeling of a pretty tight knit family. Um, it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work to keep that culture and keep that. But the higher your retention is, the easier that gets too, right? Because we had people here for, we still have our first two clients we've ever had, a mom and a daughter. Um, so it is a lot of work, but it's kind of a self-feeding game where the better your retention is, the better your retention is. You know what I mean? And the better the feel of the gym is and the culture and that type of thing.
I mean, first two clients you ever had, 2012. So we're talking 13, 13th year in a large group model.
Yep.
I'd say that's not common.
Yeah, it's cool. It's the mom came on the second workout I ever hosted when I was part time, and the daughter came on the third workout I ever hosted. So nobody showed up on the first one. My wife. I trained my wife that day. That was it.
So, I mean, obviously the title of this podcast is Wealthy Gym Owners. So, I think that one of the things that, as I've gotten to maybe take this other lane in teaching business ownership with Doug, um, has been, talking about how we can use small businesses to create wealth. Because I mean, frankly, it just probably doesn't get talked about a whole lot. Like a lot of it's like, how do I create a pretty good job for myself that may be better than a job I could go get working for somebody else?
Right.
So how have you approached that? Because everybody's a little bit different. I mean, Doug owns stacks of real estate. I'm probably more of a passive investor in stocks and index funds and occasionally the business or software company or something like that. How do you approach that sort of stuff?
Well, I didn't really even think about it until you and Doug, I can't remember, it was one of you two talking about like we have cash flow businesses, not cash out businesses. That might be the most important mindset shift I've had in the 13 years you and I have worked together. Because for a long time we just put money back into the business, and we made decent money, but I wasn't investing a lot, and so that was a big mindset shift. Um, we bought some land, 41 acres that bordered our property. That's not something that's bringing us revenue monthly, but it is something that is probably already doubled in value. And if we wanted to get rid of it, we could. We max out Aaron and I's retirement, my wife and I's retirement. Um, and then right now we're sitting on a pretty good bit of cash. I'm trying to decide. Um, we were going to, and probably still will go, like a long term real estate, buy and hold real estate, rental properties. But we've been presented with an opportunity. My wife's either wanted to start a business or buy a business. Now that all of our kids are in school, we've been presented with an opportunity to buy a business here in Burleson and where my gym is. So we're kind of working through that, what direction we want to go. But yeah, it's a big mindset shift to, hey, we need to take this. My wife and I call it the golden goose, right? We're making good cash flow, but we're not going to be able to sell this thing for 2 million when we're done. So we have to kind of figure out where we want all the eggs to go from the golden goose and figure out, how we can have our money make money for us.
Well, and you've certainly paid off a lot of debt and that sort of stuff too, which I mean, everybody approaches this differently. And I think that's one of the things I want to unpack as we talk through like some of the interviews. Like Doug's got an approach that's been incredible for him. I've approached things in the way I have, but I mean, for you, one of the things was paying off, you know, a house and a pretty substantial amount of land and that sort of thing too, right?
Yeah, we paid off our house. I think we built it in 2017. We paid it off in 2020, and then my wife went to TCU. I married the only middle class girl at TCU, so we had a six figures in school debt. So we paid all that off. I had a little bit. We paid all that off. Paid off both cars. So only debt we have, we did finance the land we bought only because it was 4% interest.
No.
So that's really the only debt we have now, and I'm okay with that debt. So now we're just figuring out, what direction we want to go right now. Anyway, long term, we're definitely going to get into buy and hold real estate, but whether we buy this business or go the real estate route. But I'll tell you, the thing with this having a business that cash flows and being in a position financially where you can invest and so on, the thing that I guess maybe this is from my upbringing, but the most beneficial thing to me is just having leverage. Like, my wife had a really good job working for one of the main hospital chains in this area. And when they mandated the vaccine, she didn't want to do it. Whether that's right or wrong can be debated, but she didn't want to do it. So she quit. She resigned. And we had the leverage to do that. Or my son recently had a health scare. He's fine now, thank goodness. But our insurance wouldn't cover the doctor that we wanted to go see. So well, let me part close to my door. So let me just pay cash. And they were like, well, there's a lot of blood tests and it's going to be I said, I don't care. Just let me pay cash. We want to go to this doctor. And so, and I didn't even, obviously, it's seven, eight, $9,000, but when you are financially in a position where you can do that, it just creates a lot of leverage, which makes me feel good.
Yeah, I remember back, it was probably 2019 when we were going through something similar with Alex, where, the in-network type stuff was not gonna, like, we wanted to go see a functional medicine doctor that specialized in an autoimmune condition he had, and insurance didn't play a role at all. And, um, you know, I think leading up to that, I had always thought, well, being in a relatively strong financial position is nice for retirement. It's nice to be able to go to Disney or wherever we're going. But at that point, I'm like, man, this is probably the most important, part of this by far is, just being in a position to make the decisions that you feel are in the best interest of your family, not just having to deal with whatever hand you're dealt.
Absolutely. And I remember sitting in the waiting room, and when I was young, I grew up relatively poor. My parents would be freaking out. It's like, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to? And, I didn't have any worries, right? Like, whatever we need to do, wherever we need to send them, we'll figure it out and we'll be able to pay for it. And it's not a big deal. So the peace of mind that gives, I wrecked my car not all that long ago and went and bought a new car 2 days later. Like, it wasn't, stuff like that. I think the leverage that it affords you is really important to us. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the idea as a business owner, I think is, hey, if we're going to take on a disproportionate amount of responsibility, hopefully have a disproportionate level of impact, then there should be some upside that's associated with that. And some of that should be hopefully peace of mind and then maybe some autonomy over some scheduling so you can be at the things that you deem important. So pretty awesome that you're in that spot.
Yep, feels good.
So I think you've already touched on this a little bit, but um I figure I'll just kind of circle back here one more time. Like, so what's next? What's next for Levi, ITS, everything? What's on the horizon?
It's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I like what I do. I love what I do. The not coaching has helped with stress level, better sleep. I'm sleeping later in the day and from 3:45 to 5:30 or whatever. So that's given me a little bit of freshness. And so, man, I don't know, growth wise, we can't grow this thing a lot more. So we need to be creative in how we continue to boost revenue without necessarily adding more clients. And then just invest and maybe buy another business. I need to talk to you and Doug about it and see what you think. But
Well, I'm curious. That was new to me when you mentioned that, so I'm very curious.
yeah, I met with him last week. So, and it's, man, like I was surprised how well, like revenue wise, like it's a pretty intriguing business. So we'll see.
Very cool. Well, Levi, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, I feel like this is appropriate. This is my first interview for the Wealthy Gym Owners podcast, so I can't think of a better person to get to share this one with.
I'm the first one,
Yeah.
man. I feel honored. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm
Very
happy to do it, man. Like I know I've told you this, and you and Doug have had such an impact on my life and my business and stuff, and so I'm eternally grateful for you and Doug both, and especially you being, we've worked together for 13 years now. So, man, I'm super happy to do it and super thankful for you.
well. I would tell you the feeling is mutual. Like, I mean, you've been a coach for a long time, and the joy in coaching is getting to see the people that you get to coach do really well. So, seem like the perfect first guest for this wealthy gym owner kind of stuff that we're doing here. So, thank you, and thank you guys for checking out this episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners. We'll talk to you soon.